Tonight what we're going to do is we're going to do something basic. We're going to draw a square and flash cut. And we're going to turn that into a G code. And then with the same square, I'm going to show you how much easier it would be to manually code the square. So let's go ahead and get started. Bring up flash cut here. Okay. And I actually worked with the vendor today, and looks like we got somebody else. Hang on a sec. What? Hi. Yep. Yeah. Did you follow the link that I sent? Okay. I'm in it. So let me try to send you an invite. Brandon, just hang tight, okay?
Got you.
No, it's okay. Let me do it this way. Copy invitation. I'll send you a link through that mail. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna just stop this for you. Okay. Just send it to you. See if that will allow you to get in. There we go. All right. Okay. Looks like it's right. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks. All right. All right, Brandon, we got Angelique with us. She's a returning student also. I'll go ahead and commence the recording again. Angelique, what I said we were going to do tonight was we're going to start off with something basic. We're going to draw a square and flash cut, turn it into a G code, and I'll show you the modifications necessary to turn it into a cut. And then I'm also going to show you how it would be a lot easier to manually program that same square and I will make a video of this so you can go back and review if need be. Some lessons there'll be whiteboards. There won't be any tonight, just because this is just kind of like an intro video. This is the actual first live class that we've had. So here we go. All right, I'm gonna pull up our flash cut screen.
Good.
Okay. And let me move you guys down here. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll do a 5x5 square. Make it some easy dimensions. Actually, let me back that up here. Go up. We have a series of icons up here, and we'll get into a lot of these as time goes on, but we could create it line by line, but we have a square tool where we can drag from corner to corner. So we're going to start down here at 0, 0, and we will just drag it up to 5x5. And next year. And we're going to hit the green check mark. Now, everything in gray, this is our shape. If we were to, this is a cutout. If we were to put circles inside, I'll show you an example. It's going to show up white. That would be something that would also get cut out. But like I said, for tonight's purposes, we're just doing the square. So let me delete this. All right. Okay. And when we cut on the CNC, it's never a good idea to cut on the axis. The reason for that, we have to set a workspace, and the workspace actually edges the X and Y axis, and the machine gets a little confused when the shape is butted right on top of the axis. So what I like to do is move it up 1/4 of an inch. Okay. To do that, you would left click on your mouse, highlight the entire shape, okay? It'll show up in red. Right click, we're gonna click move, okay? We'll go down in this corner, left click, and we just drag it where we want it. Each one of these boxes is 1/4 of an inch. So I just went over one, up one, click it there. All right, that's where we'll save it, okay? All right,
Yeah.
so you had a question?
No, I'm following you. I was just saying I got it.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna save this as.
I do have a question. Are you guys using? You guys both using the same program, Brandon?
No. Brandon, do you have your demo version set up, Brandon?
No, I don't even think you
Okay.
That's what I was asking when we was in class yesterday on hands-on.
Okay.
Take me to go there. I'm on the tablet right now.
Okay.
Oh, he has a tablet. Once I get logged,
Angelique, I'll send you a link to the software so you'll be able to practice this on your own. The only differences will be that you won't be able to save your CAD drawings, but you will be able to save your G codes. And Brandon, the next lesson that we do, we'll do it both on Flash Cut and we'll do it on Bicado. Angelique has to get a tablet from the school, so she can also get the Bicado app, and we'll make sure next session that we do it on both. So Angelique, tonight this is kind of just more of a demonstration, but I will send you the link to download the software so you can practice this on your own.
Thank you.
Let's see, we'll label this Group 7 square. And I always like to put the date. Okay, save it. Okay. Now we move into CAM. Looks like they already have a pretty large workpiece set up, but I'm going to click it and arrange it to what we have in the shop. The width we have is 48 inches to work with on the machine, and the length is 84 inches. That's the layout we have at the shop. Anything bigger than that, you're asking for trouble. And I want to, if you'll notice something, this is where the machine and a human differ greatly. You notice it wants to start to cut dead center in the bottom line. And you also notice there's an arc that leads into this line. Okay. What it wants to do is cut a pre-line. It'll cut this arc to move into the bottom line of the square. But to save material, say we wanted to cut a bunch of squares, we don't want this lead-in arc here. We don't need that. So we're going to take that out. Project settings. It's been a while since I've had to do this. There we go. Lead in, none. Now I fixed it. Now it's just going to move right to the line. Okay. I'm going to go back here real quick. I'm just going to copy this file name. I'll tell you why. Okay. Our CAD CAM files are different than our CNC files. CAD and CAM save as DXF files. CNC files save as .cnc. And you want to make the two file names the same. That way your drawing coincides with your G code. Okay. And to generate a G code.
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry, Ronald. Could you say that one more time?
Okay.
To make sure.
What I was saying, we have CAD, which is our computer-aided drafting, CAM, which is computer-aided manufacturing. This is basically lays out the fine details for the cuts, and this is also where we generate the code, the G code to cut. Now, the CAD and the CAM is the same file type, and it saves at .dxf. It's a common file type for AutoCAD, FlashCut, the tablet version by Caddo. That's also how it saves its drawings. Now, after we generate a G code, there's going to be another file generated. That's going to be a .cnc file, and I'll show you that now. We need to turn this into a series of code to be able to. That's how the machine will interpret this cut. So we go to create G code file, and G with the arrow. Click on that. Okay. And I'm just going to paste that file name in there. That way they're exactly the same. The only difference is I'm going to take out this CAD CAM part. So we use the same name, Group 7 square and the date. Okay, save it. We give it a few seconds. Okay. And now we move into CNC. Come down to the folder and click on our drawing. Open. Okay. Now now you notice we only have 4 lines here, but the computer has generated, let's see, 6 through 18, 12. It's generated 13 lines pretty much to cut out 4 lines. This is what I was talking about the difference between drawing and also and having a human doing the manual programming. Okay. So this code that has been generated, it's actually not complete. There are some things that we need to add to it. Okay. And I'm going to put some notations in here. G20.
So this is what's created when you go into the CNC screen. It gives you all the actual G codes that you created in the CAD and the CAM. Right.
Right.
That's
right.
Okay.
From CAM, you generate this code, and you modify the code in CNC, but
CNC.
it needs to be transferred to CNC to actually make the cuts. I'm going to put some notes in here as we go along. G20. This is the start of a project. And it also signifies we are using inches as our unit of measure. If we were doing metric, we would use G10. Okay. Oh, and by the way, anything in parentheses, the machine ignores. It's not part of the code. So any kind of notes you want to put in, as long as they're in parentheses, you can write whatever you want. Okay. Line number 2, M106, H plasma 1. This is just the power source. Yeah. It's the power source we're using for the torch head, make the plasma. In our case, we use a Hypertherm PowerMax 85. The 85 means that the machine can go up to 85 amps. Okay, line number 3, hashtag fabhead.mode equals cut. Okay. This just means we're in fabrication. Mode. Just means that we're in cut mode. Okay. We're going to put another line in here. G00, X0, Y0. And this is our point of origin. This is where we want the torch to start and end every time we make a drawing. So I'm gonna type that in there, point of origin. Now, we're not necessarily going to make any cuts at x0, y0, but we're going to start there and we're going to end there, okay? Line 5, G00, by the way, G00 is a code for linear movement. It's rapid linear movement with the torch off, okay? I should probably put that in there also. I'll put it in this line. Okay. G00. You haven't received the list of codes. I'll make sure that you get that also. Okay. This is the first point. The torch will move to prior. Sorry, I lost you guys there for a second. Is that a blip? Okay. Okay. All right. This point, the torch is going to move to this point prior to making any cuts. Okay. All right. Now we have our next line, G603. G603 is the start of a shape and allowing for manual torch control. Okay, now our first line, we actually have to add a line in here. We need to tell the torch, hang on a second. For some reason my Wi-Fi keeps cutting, doing something weird. Okay. All right. After the start of a shape, we need to tell the torch to turn on. The code to do that is M50. Okay. All right, now we have G01 commands. G01 commands are linear movement with the torch on. So we have G603 allowing for manual torch control. We're turning our torch on, and all the lines beyond that will be G01, G02, or G03. G02 and 03, that's when we get into circles. But for now, they'll all be G01 codes. Okay, so G01 is linear movement with the torch on. Okay, the F, that's our speed, which is inches per minute. Actually, I should put in torch speed. Now, obviously 336 is pretty crazy. So We'll change it to 36. Okay. From line 8 to line 20. All these lines are to cut out the square. That's the code for, and you wonder why there's so many. It's just the computer's idea of perfection. This is what needs to be done. Okay. Now you notice between line 20 and line 21, it goes from G01 back to G00. That's the signal to tell you that the cuts are finished. Okay, when it goes from G01, which is linear movement torch on, to G00, linear movement torch off, that tells you that you have to turn the torch off. The code to do that is M51. Something we always do when we finish is we raise our torch, which the Z direction is in the negative. We raise our torch a half an inch.
To lift it off, just to, I mean, I'm sorry, only reason I'm chiming in is because I'm also trying to understand the concept of what we're doing.
Okay.
And from what we're doing is coding, but we're also telling the machine the logistics of how to do this mechanical process, correct?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Can you hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. I said the concept. As we're doing this, I'm also trying to understand the concept of what you're doing, because from what I'm seeing, it seems like we're creating logistics for what the machine is doing.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Okay.
And these notes that I'm putting in their explanations. I'm going to take a photo of this and I'll actually send it to you guys. You'll be able to have all these notes. We're at a point now, we're raising the torch a half an inch. There's going to be melt when we make cuts, mostly underneath, but sometimes on top of the metal where the torch has cut a path, there could be melt on either side of the cut. We don't want the torch to hit that on the way back, so we raise the torch a half an inch to make sure that it doesn't hit any obstructions on the way back to the point of origin.
Gotcha.
Good. All right, and the last line down here, G00X0Y0. Torch is returning to point of origin. We don't need this last one. Let me take a photo here. Annotate, save this. Let me move this up.
Oh, sorry, y'all.
Okay, screenshot too. Okay. All right. When this is over, I will send you photos of this screen. Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. We're going to save again. We want to replace it. Yeah, we made all the modifications. Okay, file. We're going to close it. Okay. We didn't get any error messages, so obviously it likes the code. We're going to test it out. We'll come down here and make sure dry run's checked. We'll come down here and hit play. This yellow ball is actually going to act as the torch head. The torch head follows the path that this yellow circle will also follow. So move to the center of that line, and it's starting to make its way around. You'll notice down at the bottom of the screen, as it moves, the green bar changes, coincides with the line of code that it's currently on.
Right.
Okay. All right, now that we've got that, I'm going to show you how a human would program this. Okay. I'm going to close out this code. I'm going to write a new one. Okay, we got G20. Would you guys like me to put notes in as I'm going along here too?
I'll appreciate that, yes.
Next line is M106. H plasma 1. Power max 85.
At this point, are you capable of just knowing? Are you capable of just coming off the top of your head with these codes?
Me?
Because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah. That's the only reason I can do this. But once you get to the end of the class, you'll be able to do this too. The first 4 lines of every code are always going to be the same. What's my internet? What is going on with my Wi-Fi tonight? All right. We have plenty of time. Okay. All right, line number 5, 0.25, 0.25. That's where the torch will move to start making its cuts. Now we're at G603. That is start of shape. If we had an automatic leveling torch head, we would use G600 and G602 to turn it off, but we just have a manual torch head. We tell our torch to turn on, M50. Now we need to put our first coordinate in. I like to start with the Y coordinates. So our first, it's going to be X 0.25. And it's going to be Y 5.25. Okay, we're moving the torch vertically up the y-axis 5 inches. We don't want to move the X, we want the X to stay the same. So if you can imagine it, we're going to start at 0.25, 0.25, and when it begins, we're going to move up 5, then we're going to move over 5, we're going to move down 5, and then we're going to move back 5. Okay, our next line is going to be X 5.25, and Y is going to stay the same, Y 5.25. Oops. Next line is going to be X 5.25, Y 0.25. And down vertically 5 inches. Okay, our next code will be X 0.25, Y 0.25. Okay, so we made our 4 cuts. That's it. Telling the torch to turn off. We're going to raise our torch up. Our last line want to make sure that we got it. Okay, so we save that. Save as. Say group 7 manual square. All right, let's close it and see if it likes it. Exact same square. Even better, we're starting right in the corner. We'll go ahead and hit play and see how this would play out. Actually, I have to go back. There's one thing I forgot to do. In my first G01 line, I forgot to put the speed in. F, you call it 36.
Why F36?
It's just 36 inches per minute. You don't want to move too fast. Let me resave that. Just like to make sure that it gets it. All right. Now, let me close that. We'll watch it again. You'll see it'll move a little slower this time. Yeah.
Yep.
But you see how many fewer lines of code it took when we manually programmed this in.
Yes.
It's instead of generating 2 to 3 lines for each line of the square we want to cut out, we only need to put in 1. So there's many cases where it's beneficial to do the programming yourself. I will send you guys copies of what I usually do is generate this lecture into a YouTube video, and I send out copies of that. I'll also send you copies of both of the G codes. And Brandon, did you get copies of the Access reference sheet and the G code reference sheet?
Yes.
Okay. Angelique, I know you did not, so I will get you copies of those. It breaks down what G01, M50, what all that actually means. And I'll send you copies of